Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio here on this little rainy morning in Oxford. Supposed to be spitting rain for the next couple of hours, rain a little overnight. There's your weatherman forecast for the day. We'll talk about several things today. We'll look at the first college football playoff rankings that came out last night. We'll discuss a little bit of Lane Kiffin. And then we'll devote some time to Hugh Freeze as well. Freeze coming back into town this week with his Liberty Flames facing Ole Miss at 11 a.m. Saturday morning from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. So that and more on deck today. Yes, the Braves are World Series champions. See that in the stream a little bit. We'll hit some baseball, too, on what typically is a little bit of a slow day. Wednesday's our slow day, but not today. Plenty of things to talk about here on the show. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You need to go get your selfie. All you got to do is head anywhere around the property over there, put whatever in the background you want, take a selfie, put it on Twitter. You need to hashtag Blue Sky Rebels. Also then tag Oxford Exxon on Twitter, and you'll be automatically entered into a chance to win an official Ole Miss football helmet. So take advantage of that. Also, lunch special, Speed Pass Plus app. You know all the different things that can get you some grub and save some money there with the Oxford Exxon and all blue skies in Mississippi. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great burgers, po' boys, appetizers, full bar, great beer selection. Just a great atmosphere. Enjoy it if you're coming in this weekend, coming up for the Liberty game. If you're not doing the Grove thing, maybe Saturday afterwards or Saturday night or Friday night or whatever the case may be, enjoy Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, sad all the way around with Henry Ruggs. He was released as expected on Tuesday night. I mean, I would assume facing considerable jail time at this point.
I would think
for him. So, yeah, just
are the details on that out yet?
Some. I mean, the fact that
he was intoxicated.
Oh yeah. The NFL Players Association has a deal where literally any player could just call and get rides or anything in that. That's the sad part to me is there's so many ways. I mean, not like one or two. There are 100 ways to get home when you've been drinking for anyone, but especially an NFL player. Just awful.
You know, as a rule, if you're out at 3:38 in the morning,
yeah, parents were right. Not much good happens after a certain time.
You know, I can tell you, having bartended a couple of years, the people that closed a bar on Monday night were typically not a happy group of people.
Yeah.
The difference than the people who closed a bar on a Friday night or even a Saturday night. But the people who closed a bar on a Tuesday night, it's really usually kind of sad.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah. So just a lost life, a ruined life, so many sad things really around that. Braves made easy work of the Astros last night, 7-0 final. Max Fried was outstanding for 6 innings. Madsick did kind of what he's been doing for the entire postseason, and then Will Smith finished up the ninth for the Braves. What got me, it's this morning I saw the GIF that Rob Friedman had put out from Snicker's wife crying in the stands during the 7th and 8th innings, talking about a family that. The entire family. I mean, Snicker's able to what he was able to do because of the rest of his family situation. What his wife has done for 45 years in the Braves organization, for him to be the manager and get the title last night, that was emotional. And God knows where her emotions were. I mean, her son is a hitting coach for the Astros, so she had a father and a son on both sides.
He was in the other dugout.
Yeah. So you're dealing with that to a huge degree as well. Yeah, it was. I mean, as we've talked about plenty of times, I haven't really been a Braves fan to a large extent since the infield fly rule game against the Cardinals in 11 or 12 or whatever year that was. I don't really know why that broke me, but it just kind of did. I kind of moved on after that. Decided I was going to put all my emotional investment in the Saints, and that's worked out really well over the last 10 years. But it was cool last night. It was nostalgic, kind of thought back to staying up late as an 8-year-old or whatever in 91 for Game 7 and all those postseason losses, and where you were in 95 when Grissom caught the the last out when I guess Wohlers was on the mound when that happened. And then 96 pretty much almost broke me as a 12-year-old. I remember 96 for a 12-year-old, that was a tough one. You win the first two in Yankee Stadium and then lose 4 in a row to finish that. So, yeah, I tweeted last night. Kind of hate that my daughter wasn't older and stay up and kind of be able to experience that a little bit. But even with the sidewalk nature of it, it was a cool night. It was fun to see, and a lot of the people that have been griping about the Braves for 20 years to me. I've got a lot of friends that are really hardcore Braves fans. Excited for them last night. So it's always neat. And you look at it. Anthopoulos did just a hell of a job with retooling that team after Soroka and Acuna and the whole bunch there. Azuna gets hurt. I mean, it's all the way up and down. I mean, that was a GM management masterpiece to get the Braves in position. A team that was under 500 at the break, they end up winning the division, and frankly, not just rolling through the World Series and whatever, but I mean going through Brewers, Dodgers, Astros. That's a pretty good trio. That's a pretty good, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, I was happy for Jorge Soler, former Cub.
That's right.
If you told
just
me,
a bomb yesterday.
If you had told me in 2016 that night that only one guy from that team 5 years later would have another title, I probably wouldn't have believed you, and I would not have guessed Jorge Soler. And I love Soler. I still have a Soler Cubs jersey. He's one of my favorite players ever.
It worked out pretty well for him and Duvall, didn't it? Getting traded. And
Adam Duvall had a big postseason as well. So I was excited for the Braves. I didn't watch much of it. I did watch the end. I watched. I was pretty fascinated. We won't go into it here because no one wants to hear it. I was. People say, "What are you interested in?" I was fascinated with the politics last night. Watching the results come in and watching kind of flipping around and hearing different thoughts and perspectives on numbers that were coming in that probably are leading to a handful of pretty high-level meetings today, I would guess, in some places.
Yeah, I watched a little of that simply because not even necessarily nerves, but I was not going to lock in on the whole game last night, and at times I was like, I'm not necessarily nervous, but I do feel a little bit of anxiety a little bit, so I was flipping around. I was doing some different things to kind of avoid that. Just kind of quickly, because we did tease this, so we need to touch it. Lane Kiffin, you mentioned this and what he said, what he meant on Monday. He had his press conference, and you hit it. Overall, Lane really just wanted to move on Monday. He's never excited to be there. He's never pumped up to speak to the media. But at the same time, he was incredibly maybe resigned a little bit. Maybe just kind of it is what it is. I thought that he was frustrated by a number of factors, including his lack of young wide receivers stepping up. Frankly, frustrated with himself a little bit with some of the Ely stuff. I think it was very sincere, him talking about that he appreciated Jerian handling it well to not get, but I think 3 carries and maybe a catch, maybe not even a catch, something like that. I mean, being non-existent from a game plan standpoint because of the flow. I thought Lane handled the 4th down questions very well. He's not one to get annoyed with the media or pull it Dan Mullen or anything. He just states his opinion multiple times in this instance and then moves on with his day. I thought he handled that pretty well, and I think he's still challenging Braylon Sanders to a point. This offense can't get enough done without Braylon, and for whatever reason, this is a lingering thing that just will not go away.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that. He's frustrated with the receivers. It's a big question. It's a fair question. I think he would tell you it's a fair question because it can only be a number of things. I mean, there's only – someone says, what's the deal with the young wide receivers not playing? The menu here is pretty small, right? It's either you misevaluated and they're not good, you've been unable to develop them, or they're unable to catch on to the offense to the point that they can run it at the tempo that they want to run it. Or it's some combination thereof. I don't think it's aliens came down and did something. Oh. I don't think it's, they're not who we thought they were.
No.
It's one of those things. They're either not as good as you thought they were going to be, and that's on you. You can't get them developed to a point where they can play, at which point that's on you. Or they aren't putting in the extra work or whatnot to get to a place where they can operate in the offense, at which point that's on them. And I don't know that answer. I've had people go, oh, it's Derek Nix's fault. I'm like, how the hell can you say that? I mean, I don't know that it's Derek Nix's fault. I can't say that at all. Now, on the flip side, I can't go, oh, well, he's completely absolved of all blame either. I'm not at practice. But what is obvious is that you don't have Jonathan Mingo, you don't have Braylon Sanders, and you don't have Dontario Drummond in the second half of that Auburn game, and there was no Brandon.
There was just a void of playmakers.
Yeah.
It was J.J. Henry plays 2 plays. Buckhalter doesn't play. I don't know if he was there. Braylon Brown's played 5 snaps all season. After we thought he had a pretty good camp until that injury, but the hamstring's been a problem.
He did have a good camp, but he got hurt, and so he missed essentially a month of his freshman year, which is very difficult to overcome.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, Danis didn't play at all, really, and then he did not do a ton on Saturday. So, I mean, yeah, it's void of playmakers right now. That's bottom line. They've got – and they have issues. I mean, Lane said on Monday that if it was today, none of those 3 would play this weekend, including Drummond, who definitely had a hamstring issue on Saturday against Auburn.
Yeah, I'm reading people's minds when I do this, but I garnered from his answers that I don't expect any of them to play this weekend. Now, that doesn't mean that they might – 2 of them might go out there and start.
But that was your assumption based off.
I mean, if I'm just kind of reading body language.
Yeah. And then kind of want to hit this because I got a little frustrated last night. I don't care about this college football ranking thing because it's just the first week, and I get that it's a placeholder. But at the end of the day, they put emphasis on conference championships. They put emphasis on wherever the hell they want to put it in some different ways. So this is nothing but a made-for-TV event every week until that point because they can reshuffle all the deck chairs whenever it needs to be reshuffled at the end. However, in saying that, Twitter blowing up last night because Cincinnati was 6th, Oklahoma was 8th. Your top 4 right now: Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon, in that order, 1 through 4. Ohio State at 5, Michigan 7, Wake Forest at 9, Notre Dame 10, Ole Miss coming in at 16, right ahead of State and Kentucky at 17 and 18 respectively. Auburn at 13, A&M at 14. So welcome to the SEC. But
sure.
Point being here, and I think it was Adam McClintock on Twitter. He's been doing this for years, been doing this week by week by week. It's not a freaking eye test is the reason Cincinnati is not ranked in the top 4. It's not a situation where it's even the committee is biased against them. It is not. It is not what it is. They follow a certain protocol. If you want it changed, and if you feel the need to bitch about Cincinnati where they're placed or anybody else is placed, then you have to change the formula. Because McClintock, to his credit, has talked about on Twitter for months and years and
now,
whatever.
Who is McClintock?
He's like college football professor or something on Twitter. He just huge into analytics. He looks at numbers and analytics all the time. But the point he's made, and some other people have as well, like the college football matrix guy, a lot of people do this, is they follow strength of schedule, quality wins, and game control. Pretty much those factors. Because you've got, everybody goes, well, it's eye test. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. I get that maybe it's a brand test if you want to have that in a way. But from an eye test standpoint, the College Football Playoff Committee is made up of busy people, successful people for the most part, and however you want to phrase that. They're not sitting down and watching 30 hours of game film between Saturday and Tuesday. They're just freaking not.
No,
and
not.
they don't know what they're looking at if they did. What they focus on is a very significant, specific set of parameters that the committee has put in front of them, or the organization has put in front of them, that is game control, strength of schedule, and quality wins. Because of that, Cincinnati is not ranked in the top 4. So if your frustration with this group of 5 thing is whatever, it's not in the committee's hands. They're following their exact protocol on what they're supposed to do. Because what happens is if you're not in a major conference, you don't play a really good schedule. If you're losing at all at any point, your game control goes to hell and back because you were losing to Tulane for 27 minutes or anything like that. You get penalized to such a degree. You have an limited ability to have top 25 wins. It's the equation is what is wrong if you're for a group of 5 teams getting in. That is the problem. It's not that the committee went in and said, you know what, we're going to screw Cincinnati. You think they want to screw Oklahoma? Oklahoma's 8th because their game control sucks. That's why Oklahoma was 8th.
Right.
So, I don't know. I guess that's my frustration. You had all the media members going last night and doing all this white knighting for this team and this team and this team, when at the end of the day, the committee members are doing nothing but taking a formula that spits out a bunch of teams and putting them exactly where they're supposed to be in a ranking. So if you want to bitch about something, bitch about the variables in the equation and change that. That's what I don't really understand.
I have a hard time, and you touched on this at the very beginning, I have a hard time getting particularly worked up over this in the first week of November. Because there's so many more games to play. Everybody's got a month. Got conference championships to play. Alabama and Georgia are on a crash course to play one another.
They are.
And if they don't play one another, it'll be because Auburn beat Alabama, at which point Alabama will be out already. So it's kind of hard for me to get just like super geeked up about it. It's Oregon still has to play more games. Oklahoma has to play more games. Oklahoma has to play Oklahoma State. Oklahoma has to play a Big 12 title game. If they don't improve, someone's going to get them. Ohio State still has to play games. My problem with Cincinnati and the group of five, and I know we live very close to the Memphis market, and there are people in that market who whine and complain and bitch and moan and groan about the world being out to get them. And I actually like some of those people. But you're in the American Athletic Conference. You ain't getting in a 14 playoff. You're just not. They don't want you in it. You don't belong in it. You don't play the schedule that other teams play. It just is what it is. If you want that, you should fight a lot harder than you're currently fighting for a 12-team playoff, and you should get off this, the SEC has all the power crap. Shut up. Say, yeah, we want a 12-team playoff. We really don't care who televises it.
It's a good point in the thread, too. Once Oklahoma and Texas are gone, the Big 12 is going to get zero respect in these numbers.
Of course.
Nothing. I mean, just absolutely nothing.
Of course. It's why if you're Baylor or whatever, someone's talking about Dave Aranda. And by the way, Dave Aranda's not getting the LSU job. But someone was like, would he take the LSU job? Well, I don't know. But I mean, if you want to go to a program that's going to have power, then you do. Because whenever it is, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, or 4 years, but it's coming, it's done. When Texas and OU leave that league is left just a shell of itself, a carcass.
Somebody asked about Jalen Knox. He's ineligible this season. He will be eligible to play next year. The wide receiver transfer from Missouri.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, he had. Is it academic? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
had he stayed at Missouri, he would not have been academically eligible.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the ranking. Ole Miss is 16. Their path to anything Access Bowl related is to win out and hope you are the next highest ranked SEC team out of three to get a third spot. That is the path. It is a very clear path and it is a very precise path for the Rebels moving forward. But my God, at the last night, the grandstanding over all this stuff, and it's like people could have told you on the internet 2 days ago what this is going to be.
Well, some people did.
And it's like they're telling you, here, change the rules then. I don't know what you want me to do.
People fight crap like that, though. They get so worked up about it, and they think that everything has an agenda. And not everything has an agenda.
No, this had nothing to do with any of those people in the room going, you know what, nope, Oklahoma, we're screwing you.
It's like last night, not to get political at all, but people are like, what is this message from Virginia? I'm like, what the hell message do you think it is? You know exactly what message this is. The polling data has been coming in for weeks telling you exactly what was going to happen. And when it happens, you're like, push back, oh, my God. I mean, everybody knew what was going to happen on Tuesday night in the same way that everybody knew where these teams were going to rank.
It was also a referendum on running a normal candidate. Stop running fringe candidates on both sides.
It was. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there. In Virginia, it was about don't tell me that I don't have a say in my kid's education.
Yeah, I know. But they didn't run a crazy person. From a public nature standpoint.
Let's piss off a lot of people on our thread probably. One of the things that the two candidates for governor in Virginia and New Jersey, and the guy in New Jersey is going to come up just a little very short.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, what a referendum that is. But both of them essentially told Trump, stay the hell away.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Okay, you endorse me. Hey, thanks. No. Do not do another thing.
Yeah.
There's a message for Republicans, too, that a lot of Republicans don't want to get. The message for Republicans is it's time to move away from that.
Yeah, there was a roadmap in that last night.
Yes.
So, podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So get local underwriting and understand your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Walk-Ons. I'll start working on the Walk-Ons. The MPW Digital pregame show presented by Walk-Ons. I'll start working on that here today. I'll do a couple of those interviews today, a couple tomorrow, and get that to you tomorrow afternoon. It's brought to you by Walk-On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine. Po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, quality fresh ingredients you can't help but crave. It's coming, what's today, the 3rd? Probably about 2 weeks or so. Walk On Sports Bistro, more than a restaurant, 1737B University Avenue in Oxford. The one in the Jackson area is open at Ridgeland, 720 Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Walk On Sports Bistro, more than a restaurant. We're also brought to you by Brothrow. It's a social sports betting network, free to use, no third party, no juice. That saves you money over time. Start your own group, make friends, and invite your friends. Payment happens within 24 hours at the conclusion of your bet. You can take the other side of an existing bet, start a new bet, and more. Sign up today at bet.brothrow.com/MPW. Use promo code Rebel Grove at Muddy Water Camo. Get 35% off any products from the site. Free shipping on orders of $100 or more. They've got the heated vest, the heated jackets, the Muddy Water Lady Camo apparel, and much more. MuddyWaterOutdoors.com, promo code Rebel Grove. It's the big score sale with Dead Soxy. Let me get you that information so that I make sure I get it exactly right. Ole Miss and Liberty this weekend. Hold on, Chase. I got to find this. Here we go. Dead Soxy's excited to announce an incredible score for the holidays. The score sale's back for this weekend's game against Liberty. At the conclusion of Saturday's game, however many points the Rebels have scored, Dead Soxy will match that number as a percentage discount up to a max of 60. If the Rebels post 38 on the Flames, the promo code will activate for 38% off. 50 points, no problem, 50% off. The score sale will run from the conclusion of Saturday's game until midnight on Monday, November the 8th. So load up on your favorite stocking stuffers and score this incredible offer this weekend. Visit deadsoxy.com. Use the promo code SCOREREBELS at checkout to receive the score sale percentage for all orders. As always, stay Soxy. And we're brought to you by Game Changer Patches. They're the only 2-patch system available in the market today to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before or while you drink, and the overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game and ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, enter the promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast is brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit OxfordMS.com. Go to the events page, see everything going on this week and every week. Also, you can check out the double-decker bus tours, 3 and 4 o'clock this Friday. That leaving there in front of Visit Oxford just off the square. And remember, an adult ticket gets you $100 off a pair of Blue Delta jeans. Tunes around town from 5 to 7 on Friday night. Multiple musical acts all over the square and downtown Oxford. So get some takeout, get some dessert, and enjoy a Friday night prior to a home football game. And then remember that courtesy of the Oxford Lafayette County Chamber of Commerce on Sunday, they're doing a holiday open house, kind of getting started early with some shopping around Oxford, 11 to 3 on the square, 1 to 5 in other areas of downtown. They're going to have everything from snacks, arts and crafts for the kids, a raffle, gift basket stuff, and plenty more, as well as some deals around the square in other areas. So again, 11 to 3, 1 to 5, depending on your area of choice. Visit OxfordMS.com/events. All right, so Liberty coming in, 7-2, I believe, is the Flames. I guess Malik Willis is healthy, best that I'm aware of. Freeze yesterday during his media availability said lots of really nice things. Said he looked forward to seeing people. He handled it, yeah, completely fine. There was no interesting thing at all really in that. Said probably the weirdest thing would be just kind of the logistics of going to the visiting locker room and some of the things just around the stadium and things when he gets there and his place in the game compared to 5 years ago. Fair enough.
Wonder where they're staying Friday night.
I don't know.
South Haven or somewhere probably.
I would think up that way. Yeah, and then come down. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Get out and do some recruiting Friday night.
Could. I mean, they've always had such good luck in Memphis. I mean, make sure you hit that. Sorry.
See, I'll get blamed for that comment. I mean, it'll get back to Maurice Harris that I said that. I didn't say it.
You didn't say a word.
Chase said it. But I'll get blamed.
It's 5 years later. No, I don't mean that. I'm opening another thought. 5 years later, Freeze fired in the middle of 2016, the night that
was fired in 2017.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry. Yeah. Coached the 16 season. So I guess 4 years.
Yeah.
4.5, whatever. I remember I was sitting down for dinner when my phone blew up. And, somebody had said something. There was a couple different rumors. We had been hearing, like, for that week. I mean, it really, was it 2 days prior to his media day appearance?
Yeah. So
when it really, really went.
So I remember all of this because this was 2017, July of 2017. And
real quick, just to set this up, this is 10 months after we sat down with Ross to discuss some other stuff, and then some of this came up where they were concerned, I think would be a fair assumption.
Well, yeah. So I think you have to go back to draft night, really, to
do this,
to do it, and you can summarize a bunch real quick. Draft night happened, and I think people went, "Oh my God!" Like I look back on draft night and wonder if you got to keep in mind they had just won the Sugar Bowl, which was kind of a holy grail moment for a lot of people.
Made him very untouchable at that moment.
But I almost wonder if at that moment that would have been the time to touch him.
After draft night.
Yeah, and I'm not second-guessing because it would have – I don't know that anybody, Ross Bjork or anyone else, had the collateral to pull that off.
I still think Hugh Freeze, above all other things, the thing that cost him the job – because of what the trickle-down effect was calling Lindsey Miller a wife-beater that day.
Yeah, it was
if
bad.
you take that away, I think there's a chance to skate that, at least for that time period, because of the tentacles that came out from that.
Oh, I think if you just keep your mouth shut on signing day 2013, it never happens.
Do you really?
I do. I think the tweet set it in motion. Then the NCAA comes down and you challenge them physically. I mean, there were so many mistakes. So many rookie, amateur mistakes.
Emotional mistakes.
Emotional, yes. So draft night happens. Then you get into the season. We've told this story. It was the morning after. It was exactly, holy shit. It was 5 years ago today.
Yeah.
Because it was the morning after the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah.
And
I had to pick Neal up.
Well, I was still drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bad. I was at 10 o'clock that morning. We had our meeting was at 11, I think. We did the show, and then I tried to take a quasi nap on Jeffrey's couch.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, I was still drunk when I walked into Ross's office that morning. I'm not proud of it, but it's the truth. So anyway, there were hints that day in that conversation that they knew things, that they knew we knew things.
Yeah. Because we walked out and we went, okay, whatever. And then, all right. Yeah. What do we do with that?
Well, and on that day, my give a damn button was completely broken. And so when there was attempts to dance around things, I cut right through. It was like, are we talking about this person?
Yeah.
And it was, well, yeah. I'm like, okay. So we knew there were issues. They knew there were issues, but they couldn't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got wind, fairness to the person who got the scoop, it was you, the end of 2016, that this NCAA thing was going to be a absolute haymaker. And we tell people what we knew. We were working the story. We were being journalists. We weren't trying to help them. But Freeze got super defensive about it. We had that silly Sunday morning meeting in his office, me and him that day, that remains one of the most bizarre deals. And then that year fell apart on him. Just the whole, they couldn't recruit. It was crippling. And it was media days, 2017, and I'd gone over there on Monday and took Carson with me. Carson was going to a soccer camp at UAB. UAB does a really good soccer camp for boys. And he was going to that camp, and then he and I were scheduled to fly to D.C. on Thursday night because we were going to go see the Cubs and the Orioles and do some D.C. stuff.
That's right.
It was our annual boys trip. And on that Monday morning, Ole Miss's appearance, I think, Chase, was on Wednesday or Thursday. May have been Thursday.
I was over there, but I don't remember the day.
You didn't come until that day.
I came the day before and played golf.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only at the media day that one day.
So I'm pretty sure that this is Ole Miss went on Thursday.
Yeah.
And on Monday morning, I can't remember whether it was Edward Ashoff or whether it was Mark Schleybaugh or whether it was both.
It was Schleybaugh for sure. I remember him.
I know I talked to Mark, and I think at some point that week I talked to Ed because people were asking me, hey, what are you hearing about Freeze? And we'd heard rumblings, but it was always like, well, can you be more specific? And finally we got wind that they were talking about a phone.
Yeah.
Remember that? And so I started digging on it. I remember driving Carson out to UAB and being on my phone all the way to the Winfrey about Freeze's phone. And I can say it now, Michael Thompson, I was talking to him, and he was like, what have you heard? Because Michael was trying to kind of deny a little bit and at the same time trying to, I think, figure it out.
Yeah.
What have you heard? And I said, I've just heard he's got some really questionable phone calls. Didn't know anything about Steve Robertson having it. Didn't know any of that. Just knew there was something. And frankly, on Tuesday night, I thought Freeze wasn't going to come over for media days. Mm-hmm. And actually on Tuesday night, I thought Freeze might be getting fired.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday night, it was so hot and heavy that I had Laura's sister come get Carson because I was afraid I was going to be up working all night and frankly was getting scared that we weren't going to be able to make our trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Thursday, Freeze comes.
And acts.
But the conversation I'll never forget is I said to Michael, I said, are you really going to let him come over here? And something along the lines of, we have no idea what he's going to say. We have no idea. Remember that?
Right,
we have no idea what's waiting on us there. And I thought, well, then you're crazy to fall into it. But if he doesn't go, it's a bigger story. But Freeze came. He got asked questions about his phone. He answered them kind of well.
They used – careful here. They used some outside people to tailor some responses and try to prepare him as much as possible.
And he did really well.
Yeah, he did. He handled it really, really well. The preparation and his execution were both really good.
Yeah, he got through that day quite well. And I remember I wrote everything and kind of thought, well, that's the end of that. And Carson and I flew to D.C. that night and did our weekend in Baltimore, went to the Cubs-Orioles games, got back on Monday, and quite frankly kind of thought it was over. But there were rumblings, but I not over, but I didn't think anything.
We didn't imagine it was doing what it did.
Yeah, and then on that
in that way,
on that day, he and I'd gone we went to bowl and went to a movie like Planet of the Apes, whatever it was, that movie that was out that summer.
Yeah,
and my phone started buzzing in the movie. I remember him being pissed off at my phone, like, "Dad, get off your phone." I had to leave the movie a couple of times and get out in the thing. People are like, "Hey, Wayne, what's going on?" I'm like, no, what do you need? What's going on? And by the time he and I got back from the movie, it got to a point where I texted Freeze and I said, "Did you resign?" And I'll never forget it. Almost instantly, the response was, "No, I was fired."
Well, in the story on that, so we get the media alert, hey, go to the pavilion. And it was like very top secret. It was go to the pavilion, but park in the loading dock behind it. Like keep your cars out of view, come in this way, do all this kind of stuff. And, I mean, it's blowing up what has happened. Everybody's very aware of it.
Yeah,
and we
sure.
get into that basketball area, and I mean, I've told this before, probably not the whole thing, and I don't remember the exact wording, so I'll be a little careful on quotes, but I was like, hey, I don't know how long this is going to go. I just walked into the bathroom right there off the side of the press conference area in the media area of the pavilion, and Ross was in there, and he was sweating profusely. He had like paper towels wiping his head, and it was just me and him in there, and I kind of I kind of grinned at him, and I was like, are you all right? And he kind of looked at me, and he goes, it's been a long day, or something along those lines, and I kind of laughed. And I was like, what's this look like? And he's like, well, or whatever, and I don't think he said it, and so I'm not going to even put the words in his mouth because he might deny it. He was very frustrated Vitter was involved with what was coming up in a minute. They wanted it to just let Ross handle it or let Ross and Freeze handle it, but Vitter felt the need to be up there and all that stuff. Ross was frustrated by that at least. And essentially what we found out later is that Freeze had fought resigning or being fired for hours. I mean, literally hours. They had been trying to convince him that, no, you cannot keep doing this. Like, this is over. We can't sustain this on multiple fronts, where they had been with him since about noon to run through all this. It's probably 7 at this point, 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. He just could not. He thought that if people would support him, he could come through it unscathed. At least at that point he did. I don't know what it feels like now. But at that point, he 100% felt like he could get through it. And then they get up there, they do the hostage video that everybody has, like you said, has come into the lexicon now.
That wasn't the hostage video, right?
Was it not? I thought that was all three of them.
Freeze wasn't up
Freeze
there.
wasn't there. Never mind. You're right. Yeah, it was Ross and Vitter.
Yeah. It was just a hostage video light.
Yeah, it was light. Sorry.
And it was actually kind of different because Vitter didn't say much.
He felt like he had to say like 2 or 3 things. It was like this, like, well, let me tell you about the university side of it, like whatever. But he makes, the problem with Vitter with so much stuff is he made everything stiff, even more than it was anyway. Vitter, if just his presence made everything look less organic, like very, whatever the word is. So it was a mess. But yeah, Freeze should have gone to Florida. That's 100% right.
Yes.
The hostage video was the 3 of them explaining their NCAA situations. It was put out on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah.
It looks like they should be holding newspapers up in front of them. That's what it looks like. Which we're also admit now.
Yeah, I mean, last time, pretty much every time I see Ross, I'd make fun of the hostage video.
That's right.
He's a pretty good sport about it now.
Yeah, he handles it. He handles it fine. That is the Vitter gumball picture is one of my favorite pictures of all time. It's fantastic. It's just
what a fascinating time when all that was going on. I mean, but it was kind of a precursor for what was to come that fall because they did not want Vitter involved in that press conference, and he was. And then I think they thought that Vitter wouldn't be involved in the coaching search, and he absolutely was.
Freeze could have gotten the Florida job had he pursued the Florida job. Well, he would have had to change some things, but he could have gotten the job.
Yeah, he could have gotten the job. I think for a brief moment he basically had the job, but they were going to control his Twitter account.
Yeah, there was some things along those lines that were what they were.
Jeremy Foley wanted to control his Twitter account.
Yes.
And that was
a non-starter.
That was a big deal. Because I sent Freeze a text during all of that. It was basically because at the time, our relationship had been pretty good. I mean, he'd been more than fair to us. It was the first time because God knows Nut wasn't. And I was like, hey, man, just wanted to tell you, I know it might be a crazy weekend. I think I remember saying this. I know this might be a crazy weekend. I just want to say I appreciate how fair you've been. Best of luck to you, whatever you do.
Yeah.
And he came back just with thank you.
That was it.
That was it. And I was like, dude's gone. And I remember talking to people over there, and they were like, hey, look, this program's bigger than Hugh Freeze.
He got really emotional after the Egg Bowl and didn't feel like he could leave it.
Remember C.J. Johnson's tweets the night before the Egg Bowl?
I don't remember this.
It was like, been betrayed. People have lied to me. I mean, they went into that game thinking Hugh Freeze was leaving. I think Hugh Freeze was leaving.
And you think Jim McElwain would have been the coach?
I think Jim McElwain was coming here and Lane Kiffin was going to Colorado State.
That's right. Taking the full.
I do.
Yeah.
That's what I
that
think.
felt like a very, I mean, the tea leaves were lining up for that.
Well, there was a lot of buzz. And then it went away. Whether it was in-state stuff or the fact that he had kind of felt like he had the Ole Miss program on the cusp, whatever it was, he decided he didn't want to do that. He wanted to stay. Which is when I always push back where people go, Jimmy Sexton controls everything.
Jimmy wanted him at Florida.
Jimmy might try to control everything, but at the end of the day, Jimmy Sexton.
Take what job you want or don't
Jimmy
want.
Sexton does not force a client to take a job. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work like that. I think Jimmy thought it was in Hugh's best interest to go to Florida.
Jimmy thought he was moving all the puzzle pieces around. He has McElwain, he has Kiffin. He could do all three.
And I think he felt like Hugh would be better off going to a place that had a little more control, making this go away. I think there was a sense that the deal at Ole Miss, there were compliance issues. I don't know that Hugh and the compliance office ever got on the same page. I think there was a sense among some people that Hugh getting to a place like Florida and working at the time for a guy as established as Foley would let him just be a football coach. And in the time when Hugh Freeze was just a football coach, he was a pretty damn good football coach.
Yeah, he did a hell of a job in 12 and 13 and into 14 for sure. I mean, he really, really, really did. So. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite 100 Mbps or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. It's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service available, parental controls, network security, and much more. You can get the best internet around. Just call the office and find out if they're in your area. And by this point, they are. 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by Automation and Control Systems, LLC. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator based right there in Baldwin, Mississippi. ACS can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, and many other manufacturers. For more information or to get in touch with ACS, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate is based out of Jackson. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as retail, office, industrial, and land. Sam Cox and B.B. Mitchell are Ole Miss graduates that utilize their unique skill sets to execute on assignments and increase value for their clients. They have lots of properties, including the Village at Madison, which features 60,000 square feet of Class A restaurant, retail, medical, and professional office space, along with roughly 75 zero-lot line residences, with Pinpoint handling the leasing for the commercial portion of the development. If you'd like to learn more, give Sam and BB a call, 601-586-3220. Blue Delta Jeans is happy to announce the inaugural Coastal Cup Waterfowl Tournament, hosted January the 19th through the 21st at the Bay Flats Lodge on the San Antonio Bay of Texas. This competitive team duck hunting event will include 2 days of Texas coastal waterfowl hunting, meals, drinks, and lodging, and 2 pairs of custom jeans for every participant. Special guests of the event include Josh Raggio of Raggio Custom Calls, Barton Ramsey of Southern Oak Kennels. To learn more, get in touch with Blake Kokenauer at blake@bluedeltajeans.com. We're also brought to you by Lamons. Lamons Fine Jewelry in Oxford, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. They've been serving the Oxford area for basically 75 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, watches, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, everything. They've got it at Lamons. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lamonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. It's kind of a pun at this point, but I think there's like a Freeze watch for this weekend.
There is. I made that joke to somebody this morning, yes.
There you go.
Yeah. That's
so
great.
It's going to be chilly. You're going to be turning that heating system on. You want to make sure that it's operable and working and safe after 6 months of summer. So get in touch with the people at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products, same services, same people. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. We did that. Had them come out, just check it, make sure it's all good. Certainly don't want to start that up, and then all of a sudden you've got all sorts of problems on a Tuesday night or something. So we did that. You should too. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, the surrounding area, call 662-429-4429. I recorded a soft verbal podcast yesterday with Sam Spiegelman of Rivals.com. It's brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area, one in Ridgeland, one in Flowood. Also, you can go to collegecornerstore.com or you can go to Facebook and Instagram and get your goods there.
Support for the Oxford Exxon Podcast brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched the 4th generation trimmer, The 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with an exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MPW at manscaped.com. One of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance, craftsmanship, and details are 4.0 on next level. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. The 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. You can be confident in all those sensitive areas. The upgraded trimmer includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock, gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard links with sizes 1 through 4. Wireless charging through electromagnetic induction that helps battery length last longer. It's time to get your own trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time with your enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MPW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code MPW. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Let's see.
You got that one down.
Yeah, I'm done. We'll move on.
You're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll tell you about some ice cream later. So artisanal cheese trays coming up. So that's kind of that. We're 4 years from the firing. We're getting to this point. But what are your 2 or 3 in 10 more years? What's Hugh Freeze's legacy?
Here?
Yeah.
It's twofold.
Because it changes a little bit for any coach once they're gone. I mean, you look at Tuberville, it's kind of twofold. You look at Cutcliffe, it's kind of
Sure.
Everything is complicated except for like Orgeron.
He proved that you can win here. He proved that you can recruit big here. He also proved that when you're a football coach, you've got to be a football coach. You can't get caught up in your celebrity. Frankly, it's a lesson of Nick Saban. I mean, Nick Saban's 70 years old. He's just recently started to kind of embrace the celebrity part of his persona. The commercials and whatnot.
Yeah, he's cashing in.
Yeah. But
it doesn't go over to his program.
No, he was a grinder, and Freeze got away from the grind. He did. I mean, that's and then he got away from him.
He's not the first dude to get caught up with the celebrity and the stuff and the whole deal.
No.
And that's what got him.
Well,
He took his eye off the ball.
The other thing that got him was he was never on the same page with compliance. By the time they were on the same page with compliance, the NCAA was already digging in. They already had stuff. Part of the problem with that, and Freeze got caught up in the middle of this, is they started with one compliance strategy of cooperation and then reversed field and started to fight. But by the time they fought, they'd already been cooperating.
Well, and frankly, by that point, it's even the worst strategy because you cooperated and handed them all this stuff, and now you're being asses about what they actually already have. I mean, it was screwed up on every front at that point. I mean, you either fight and don't give the stuff, or you completely roll over, one or the other.
Well, the lesson is that you fight from day one.
Yeah.
You fight from day one, and they didn't. And so by the middle of it, it was so conflicted. And then he mishandled the stuff with Farrar. He should have just, when McGriff left to go to the Saints, is that where he went? The Falcons, Saints?
Saints, yeah.
When he went to go to the Saints, he should have just promoted Barney, made him his DB coach.
Yeah, because he's on the field at that point. Everybody goes, all right, fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
shuts everybody up.
Because everybody hated the fact that they were using that exemption for Werner, which was, the exemption was fine, but it created this basically thing of, well, there's just an extra coach because Dan was only recruiting a couple quarterbacks anyway if he was on the thing, and now you got this in-state mercenary running through whatever.
Well, he's going everywhere.
Yeah.
And Barney was everywhere. He was out recruiting. He was very, very active recruiting, and everybody knew that, and other programs bitched about it. And when they bitched about it, the league tried to tell Ole Miss, hey, look, you guys need to figure this out. And when he got an opportunity to do it, and that opportunity came quickly, when he got an opportunity to do it, he said, nope, I'm going to go hire Corey Batoon. Mm-hmm. You're not going to tell me what to do. And frankly, there was a moment there where Hugh could have either promoted Barney or just fired Barney. And maybe it all goes away. I don't know. But his legacy is twofold. I mean, he did a great job, and then he did a terrible job. And then part of the legacy got altered, frankly, by the fact that if Hugh Freeze coaches 2017, nobody remembers him as a great coach. They remember him as the guy that they would have gone 4-8. 4-8 while getting crashed by the NCAA in 2017.
Yeah. He showed that you can win incredibly big here because he wasn't even efficient all the time doing it. There's no doubt about that. And then, yeah, he showed that plenty of flaws that will run down any program, any business, any person, any coach, any whatever you want to call it over the course of the years. I mean, the ego just got out of control.
Well, and he built a persona that wasn't real. Hey, I don't drink, and everyone knows that you're at.
And what frustrates me about that is, I mean, I know the guy a little bit, and nobody would have cared. It's what people try to tell Hugh is if you go beat Auburn, and then when you go after the game, you walk through the Grove, and you got a screwdriver and a cup. Nobody will give two damns.
No.
At all.
No.
And they're not going to go, hey, you're a less of a Christian because you did. No.
No.
You've been nothing. Like, just.
But he would do that
ease
stuff,
into
though.
it.
And
Yes, I'm saying. Like,
he would do that stuff,
up.
and then he would go preach at some place.
It's the quote that haunts him, too, is he goes on Fine Mom and goes, I don't have any vices. I dip a little, and I'm trying to stop. Just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
He would tell people he didn't curse, and then you'd see video of him cursing. I mean, why?
Yeah, nobody would have cared.
I don't drink, and yet everybody on your team knows you drink. You're telling you're giving these. He did the thing with his own funeral that didn't go over well. There was just weirdness.
Oh, that motivational thing he got from somewhere where he had them all playing the funeral.
Yeah,
that was a little weird.
It was a little weird. And by the end, some of the older players were like, "I'm kind of done."
Was he the one that had the fake dummy spying from the top of the stadium or whatever a few years ago, where they had
I can't remember.
Okay, there was a lot of weird things.
Yeah. And yet, there's a lot of people that worked for him and work for him who swear by him. I mean, he's still a really good football coach.
Yeah,
he's done a really good job at Liberty. He's got a good team. It's just complicated, like a lot of things.
It was some togetherness, motivational thing. It was. I think the thing was more like, hey, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, what make use of today. It was all that kind of stuff, but it came off incredibly awkwardly when it was happening.
Yeah.
There was lots of that stuff. It felt like we had Tony Robbins in the building a lot. It was just.
Well, I can remember when Matt Luke took over. One of the things that the kids liked about Matt when he took over was it was just a lot more transparent and it was just football.
Mm-hmm. He's always big on the wristbands the first day of camp.
Yeah.
It was just, one or two of those things, yeah, sure, everybody does it, but it was just, I felt like it was all the time.
It was.
It was constantly something. It was
just, it's funny how they've gone, they being Ole Miss, from these just completely different types of coaches. It's just like these wild pendulum swings.
Yeah, it's when the relationship ends, we go the opposite way, back and forth and back and forth.
From Freeze to Luke, two people who have just virtually nothing in common.
Orgeron to Nutt.
Yeah. And now to Kiffin, who's completely could not be more different from Matt.
I mean, literally, yeah.
I mean, just, yeah, it's dizzying almost.
I mean, it's almost like you go, hey, the next coach in Ole Miss is going to be Dave Doran. You just had to go to Kiffin first, and we're going to come back this way. That's what's going to happen.
I still think, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I still think Doran would have been a pretty smart hire.
Matt is a very real, genuine dude, Grind. Matt's a good guy.
Incredibly genuine.
Yeah, he's a good man. There is no doubt about that.
That is one of the nicest families you will ever meet. They are so nice. Yeah, I mean,
from a straight just want something for a person, you wanted Matt Luke to win football games.
I think we all just wanted him to win, and it just didn't.
Yeah,
it just wasn't. It
was frankly a kind of a frustrating time period because you wanted him to win, and you knew he wasn't going to win.
You knew he wasn't going to win. You could see the writing on the wall, and
it was just hard. Yeah.
the last month of that 2019 season was difficult. It was hard to do your job. And I've talked to other people who I kind of felt the same way. It was like those press conferences felt heavy.
Which press conference was it where he tried to get really emotional and frenetic and kind of loud, and it wasn't him, but he was trying to send a message, and it came off, and you went, just be yourself.
Was it after the Arkansas?
No, I think it was actually signing day. I think it was like one of the signing days or something, and he had this real monologue set up, and he kind of was yelling it, and you went,
yeah, I don't remember.
I don't. Your words probably look good on a transcript, but it's not you. Just be yourself.
Just be you. Yeah, and it was hard.
Yeah, couldn't get there.
Well, I've had this conversation with a couple people over there. I almost think, and look, this is asking a lot of Ross, and it wouldn't have gone over very well. And I don't think Matt was who Ross wanted to hire, and so there was a disconnect there as well. There was almost a point where you needed to go, hey, look. Here's where we are. We're in a rebuild right now. This is we're not in a great place.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it was they embraced that whole Mississippi made thing, which from a messaging standpoint never made sense.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? So if you're not from Mississippi, you're not.
It was supposed to be a playoff built by Bama. Is what it was supposed to be. It wasn't. The overall emphasis was not even necessarily, or at least it was not supposed to be Mississippi made as in we covered our end state. It was supposed to be we are making people.
Right.
But the messaging got all messed up all over the time. Yeah, it was a weird, they really struggled to message it at all.
And they did that on his opening press conference. That was on that day in 2017 where he got the job. They launched into that. He was like, oh, yeah. Remember that? It was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he went into it, and it was like, what is that? It just never developed any synergy at all. It never got rolling. And then even that.
He did a nice job keeping them together in 17.
He did a great job in 17. You go back and look about like the week they had to go to Cal and Matt had to be in Covington, Kentucky for 48 hours. He was there till Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Gets back late Tuesday, and they leave on Thursday to fly to San Francisco or Oakland or wherever it was they flew.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
The day after that Cal game, talk about a man who was really confused on what he should be doing. I ended up on the golf course with Hugh Freeze the day after that Cal game, and long story. And
I remember that.
It was a man that was tormented, frustrated, upset, frankly felt like he was still getting blamed for what was on the field, and he didn't justify it even though he did. Like it was
his product.
Yeah, it was a really strange couple hours there. He had not let it go, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was the Cal game from the night before was very much on his mind at that juncture. To the point of explaining how plays should have been run, some different things. I may have that scorecard somewhere. I need
such
to go
a weird week.
Yeah, it was.
We would just sit in that Embassy Suites in Covington and just sit, and then
you and JHV and the parrot.
Yeah, that parrot.
The whole deal.
It's delusional by the end.
In some ways, look, I get. I mean this in a very narrow scope because every day on the podcast. I mean, frankly, it's one of the things that built our show. There was something crazy every single day. Do you kind of miss it in a way? Because, like, in a way, it was like, today it's this.
Yeah.
Because there for a while, our biggest show ever was the day that TMZ Lindsey Miller photos came out or whatever it was. That was our biggest show forever, talking about Lindsey Miller and the whole.
Well, it's like in Covington. I mean, there was nothing during the day. Like I could have completely not been at the hotel, but both of the nights there, I got calls from people going, hey, I want to tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go someplace? It was like multiple people.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I would meet people. I got to see all parts of Covington.
Yeah.
And people would tell you everything that was going on in there, and you're like, holy, but you were kind of sworn to secrecy on it. It was just a bizarre time. Just the whole thing, just nuts. So. The whole Leo Lewis thing is crazy.
Yeah,
somebody one day will. They won't, because no one would buy it. It would make a fantastic book if you could really write it.
It wasn't like it was one mistake, so I don't think Hugh can go, oh, I regret this one thing, because it was so many different things. But it is the frustrating thing looking back just for people and humanity that he was a good football coach. He was a good fit if he could have stayed in that lane. He really could have been here for a while and done a lot of good things over time, but he just, it's life. I mean, things happen. People get whatever. I mean, Neal's got a lot more personal situation with him than I do. I mean, I like the guy a lot for the most part, but
I like the guy.
You like the guy. It just,
I resented the lie that he told that whole
You just
summer.
couldn't. You just wanted him the whole time to get out of his own way, and he never could do it.
Yeah,
there was a frustrating part of knowing him. Hugh, just stop.
Well, it was like at the media day in August of 2016. He's like, "Hey, it's good to have you back." And I looked at him like, "What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone away. You've made my summer hell, but
yeah, I'm still here.
I'm here."
Yeah.
And then he did that thing where he followed me on Twitter back
and forth.
Back and forth, and I didn't follow back, and so he unfollowed me.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are we doing? I mean, this is nuts. I mean,
we're 8th grade girls.
Yeah,
right
we just
now.
needed to have a conversation where I could have said, "Hey, man, I mean, you can't go tell people that I'm the reason."
Yeah.
That there's an investigation that got launched in this town because you're a deity coming off of a Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell people that.
Yeah.
And then expect people to not ever push back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then in January, it was, why are you saying that I'm the subject of this investigation? It's because you are.
Yeah.
I'm not making it up. I'm not the one investigating you.
Yeah.
But people, you have enemies, and people are out to get you, and the NCAA wanted him badly.
They did.
And frankly, they didn't get him because Barney Farrar fell on the sword.
Yeah, there was a code there that Barney protected him.
That's exactly right.
Podcast brought to you in part by Johnston Hill Creamery. Go ahead and get your Thanksgiving pre-orders in now. Orders have to be in by November 19th at 5 p.m. You pick up on November 24th. That's the day before Thanksgiving. 662-419-9201 or cheese at johnstonhillcreamery.com. Buttermilk pies, pumpkin cheesecakes, artisanal cheese trays, harvest charcuterie boards, and much more there. Also, remember with this weekend at home in the Grove, you can get your catering and tailgate stuff delivered right to your spot there on campus with Johnston Hill Creamery. So go check out all their different options for that. That's sandwiches, salads, desserts, cheese trays, charcuterie boards, and plenty more, as well as great add-on items like the honey and the pepper jelly and plenty of other items. So again, same number there. Just need 24 hours notice, and they will get it to you right there at your tailgate location, 662-419-9201.
We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. They're home to the Pinnacle 401k advisory services team. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. We're also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. Just get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. We're also brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the historic square. A delicious menu featuring gyros, wraps, kebabs, fresh redfish, lamb chops, and more. Awesome bar serving your favorite handcrafted cocktails and frozen libations as well. It's an amazing candlelit patio right there, 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse, next to the old Soulshine location. So if you're coming in this weekend looking to try something new, check out Opa. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's Grenada Nissan USA.com. Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors sponsors my mailbag, which is basically ready. I just need to hit the publish button. There's a couple things in it that I'm trying to decide whether I want to leave in or take out. It's brought to you, she serves you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo, condos, land, commercial and residential family homes, 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. We're also brought to you by Service Specialist, offices in Ridgeland, Canton, Jackson, and Oxford. They've been connecting candidates and employers since 1967 as the oldest staffing company in Mississippi. Whether you're a new college grad or a seasoned professional, whether you're in engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, or more, you should contact Service Specialist. They're always looking for candidates that have potential and want to learn, get their foot in the door with growth opportunities, and they always have candidates and resumes ready for your perusal if you're an employer. So if you're thinking about looking for a job, or you're looking to relocate to Mississippi, or if you are someone who's looking for quality employees to hire, get in touch with Service Specialist, 662-832-5138, or go to servicespecialistltd.com. Alpha Specialties is located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professional. They've got load trail. They've got Hallmark cargo trailers. They've got spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. They do all types of truck accessories. They can also repair all types of trailers, concession, horse, utility, enclosed, gooseneck, RV, and more. 601-932-9798 or alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, and so many more brands. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Nick's Tan and Associates. That's nickstanoxford.com, 662-281-1200. They can help you on either side of the home purchasing process, the buy side, the sell side. Oxford's still pretty crazy from a real estate market standpoint, so let locals help you out with that there at Nick's Tan. I've used them multiple times. Give them a chance too. They also sponsor my 321 football content item every week on rebelgrove.com, so you can click the link in that store. You can click the link in my message board signature and be on your way to your next home with Clay DeWeese. So Keith Graham and their team of associates. Again, 662-281-1200 or nickstanoxford.com. Let's see what else we got. Just to quickly, nobody necessarily cares about this right now. It's a year away, but yesterday, Ole Miss is going to be in a tournament in Orlando in basketball next year. It's called the ESPN Events Invitational. Sure, it means ESPN needs television, so they're putting a tournament together.
Yes.
What that means. And it is Ole Miss, Florida State, Oklahoma, Memphis, Nebraska, Seton Hall, Stanford, and Siena.
Oh, that's a pretty good crew.
So, yeah, good crew there for the
that's next November?
I don't have a date on that. But
because they've got a tournament. I mean, it is snuck up on us because we've been
basketball actually starts in like a couple days.
They open in 6 days.
I think there's a media op today.
There is today. Yeah.
So, it's they play UNO and Charleston Southern, and then they go to Charleston. Is that where the tournament's at? I may be right in saying that. They open with Marquette. I know that.
Are you sure? I'm pulling it up right now.
Am I sure about what?
Marquette.
You think I'm wrong?
I don't.
We looked this up yesterday.
Yeah, but I've had a lot going on, man. I don't know. Let's see. I'm pulling up the men's basketball schedule for Ole Miss.
Yeah, Marquette. In Charleston. Shriners Children's Charleston Classic.
The opener, though, is New Orleans.
Yeah, I said UNO and Charleston Southern.
Gotcha.
And then they go to the tournament where they play Marquette and then West Virginia or Elon. And then somebody else. I don't know how that works.
They have a Thursday, Friday, Sunday tournament. And then they come home day after Thanksgiving and play Mississippi Valley.
They got a big game December 4th against Memphis at home.
That's at home, yeah.
At 11 a.m. on ESPN2.
December the 11th is in Atlanta against Western Kentucky.
They open league play at home against Mike White and the Gators on December 29th.
Yeah.
So there's your basketball situation. They announced Kermit Davis's extension yesterday. What that was just strictly a rollover back to his 4-year max from a government standpoint in Mississippi. It happened months ago, but they chose this week to announce it, I'm assuming for season ticket and potential recruiting purposes on that. I guess I knew that he had been extended. It's just sort of the MO for the most part to extend unless there's some huge reason not to. Ole Miss is willing to eat some more potential buyout over the years if that comes to that without that affecting any statuses. I mean, I know a lot of people in the message board were talking about yesterday. I know, look, this is not me saying Kermit's getting fired. That's not what I'm saying. But people were asking, is this a long...
If you're going to say that, make sure you say, this is Chase Parham.
Neal told me on the phone yesterday he thought Kermit was going to get hacked.
No, he did not.
I kept getting asked, though, what does this do to a buyout standpoint? Right. To the best of my knowledge, it literally just adds on because they are owed the remainder of their contract in most instances from an Ole Miss contract standpoint. So that's it. That's the answer to that. That is nothing about my opinion regarding his employment status. It is just a fact of the matter. So, yeah, Ole Miss plays Trevecca, which Neal tells me is out of Nashville, November 5th.
That's what I was told.
6 p.m. at home, and then UNO next Tuesday. Is it UNO if you're on the road, the ones that has like the bar in the student section or like in the stand or something?
I think that's right.
Isn't that right?
I think that's right.
Yeah. I've avoided golf lately, Grind. I have not discussed it at all.
Ole Miss beat Alabama in soccer yesterday in Orange Beach, 1-0. They'll play Tennessee tomorrow at 7:30.
It's not tonight?
November 4th, okay. Thursday. November the 4th.
Yeah, that is a 2-seed versus 3-seed game. The Vols are the 2-seed. The Rebels are the 3-seed in Orange Beach. So,
there you go.
Ole Miss still fighting for potential host, seeding, NCAA tournament. They're definitely in. Just a matter of what it looks like for them from that standpoint. So, yeah, I have seen enough of that to know a little bit. So. Let's see. What do we got? I got some stuff at rebelgrove.com. We'll have some more today. We'll have Neal's picks tomorrow. We'll go through their lines a little bit for that. Michael Thomas suffers setback. He is out for the season for the Saints, the wide receiver. Frankly, I never expected him back to begin with, so that did not change my blood pressure at all this morning.
In case you're wondering, by the way, women's basketball opens on Thursday the 11th at home against Belmont.
Okay. On the 11th?
The 11th.
So still a week and a day away from that.
They're at home what appears to be the whole month of November. Belmont, Mississippi Valley, Lamar, Louisiana Tech, Jackson State. They go to Berkeley, I guess for a tournament is what it looks like, or some sort of a invitational on Friday, November the 26th.
I don't know how many people care, but this is kind of worth mentioning a little bit just because we are running through some of the smaller sports, some different things. I saw they were on a hell of a run. The volleyball coach has done a hell of a job turning them around.
She really has.
They were like 0-18 or 0-19 or something like that last year during that SEC-only COVID year. They are 17-5 overall and 6-5 in the SEC, including winning 4 straight conference games. They swept Missouri 3-0 in Columbia, and then they beat South Carolina at home 3-2, 3-0 in a back-to-back. So huge kind of week and a half for them for the volleyball team. They play nationally ranked Tennessee in Knoxville on November 7th for their next game. So that is
Sunday.
That is the next game there. So anyway,
Will Murphy says I was not wondering. It's one of these things, and so this conversation comes up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you guys going to cover women's basketball? And the answer is, so I've been here 13 years. And like twice, we've sort of tried it. And it just gets no numbers. There's no...
Yeah. And now they've sucked.
They've been bad. And then one of our competitive sites really covers it. Mm-hmm. And people are like, are you going to do that? I'm like, it's proof that we never react to what other people do from that regard. We sort of, I feel like Lane Kiffin when I say this, we just sort of trust our analytics. And I can see how he'd get frustrated. People are questioning your analytics, and you're like, these are our analytics. This is what this tells us to do.
I don't know that we're going to, at any point, ever elevate it to like a main sport. However, in saying that, I'm very interested to see how you guys as fans respond to this team. I think they're an NCAA tournament team. They have Shakira Austin, who's one of the top 5 players in the country. We obviously see what's happened at Mississippi State over the years when they've been very good. I'm curious. I mean, I think in some ways, whether we do some intern stuff, whether we do things, whether we even to spend more time trying to get videos or something to you, some things along those lines, I think it's going to be somewhat dependent on fan reaction, listener, viewer reaction, and let you guys tell us what it is that you want from that. Because at this point, there's just been very little day-to-day interest in it. So, I think they're going to win. I think they're a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, something like that. So we'll see what that means for you guys. I have no idea. So that's kind of where that's at. So all right, lines tomorrow. Again, plenty. Our picks tomorrow, not lines. Neal's picks tomorrow morning. We'll have some stuff up at rebelgrove.com. We'll be with you again tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed a Hugh Freeze rehash, some stuff from Lane Kiffin, and more. So have a good day. Take care. We'll talk to you again very soon.